All right, you guys ready for this? I'm going to give a quick little background to this whole situation, and then we're just going to kick off. And a lot of this is very, very, very raw footage. Um, I want to explain to you what you're about to see because nobody's ever seen this stuff. This hasn't ever been released in 10 years. And I'm going to give you a kind of a breakdown of what we're going to go through tonight. You can plan on about probably a 2-hour show. I've got an hour long audio recording we're going to listen to. And then I've got probably a dozen video clips that we're going to look at tonight as Mindy Lee's mom goes back through some stuff. Now, I want to set the stage for this because we're going back in history. Every one of these recordings that we're about to watch, every one of these audios that we're going to listen to over the next couple of episodes, this is all stuff recorded in 2010, 2011, 2012, 2014. If you are unfamiliar with the Mindy Lee case, you can Google it, and there's going to be some stuff that'll tell you what's going on, and you're going to see some news articles. There's some podcasts out there. I'm not going to go back over any of that stuff. I'm not trying to go back over news articles. I'm not trying to go back over stuff that's been done. What you're about to hear is never before released footage. Mindy Lee's mom, it absolutely blows my mind that 10 years ago, she had the foresight and she literally recorded conversations with police officers without them knowing. She recorded conversations with the coroner without him knowing. She recorded conversations with the DA and she carried around. She was a mom with a phone before anybody was doing this. I often think how I would react. How would I respond? How would I react if my one of my kids showed up dead and there were unanswered questions? How would I react if the situation happened with my own child? And I'm going to tell you, I have I just looked through a couple of these things and I realized that this is going to be a unique look back at a case because this is a fresh perspective. We're going to be able to give a fresh perspective on stuff that no one's looked at. She's going to explain, not me, by the way. This is going to be audio and video directly from what I can only call the diaries of a mother, the journey of a mother looking for answers in this mysterious murder, mysterious death of her daughter. Now, I have very specific goal in mind with doing these videos. I have a very specific plan, and that is to make enough noise that we wake someone up. That knows something, that remembers something, that maybe for 10 years has been living with guilty conscience or hasn't said anything for one reason or another. My goal is to wake up something that will open this case up. We could go back over the police reports. I could sit here and talk about the incompetence of the police. I could sit here and talk about the incompetence of the investigators and of the coroner and of however they handled the evidence. I'm not going to do that. I could care less a lot about the police reports. I could care less about the official report. I could care less about what they said happened. My question, my search, my mission when looking at the Mindy Lee case is to make enough noise with it that somebody wakes up, that we wake somebody up that has something new, that something will be triggered in someone's mind that can come forward, that will come forward first of all to us, and then we can take that and we can go to the proper law enforcement. There are people and investigators who have been investigating this case for 10 years. They've been trying to bring awareness to this case for 10 years. They've been talking, they've been investigating, they've been asking questions, they've been trying to sort through documents and police reports and coroner's reports and DNA reports and all of this stuff. And yet this case still remains somewhat of a mystery. There are so many unanswered questions that someone begins to ask, well, why are they covering this up? How is this happening? Why did this happen to Mindy Lee? I've been trying to think about how to go through this stuff and show it to you. And do I polish it? Do I bring it to you straight raw? After every video clip, do I interject? Do we ask questions? Do we go back and forth? And I don't know how it's going to go. I don't have a plan necessarily. I didn't know this stuff existed. I talked to Vicky White, Mindy's mother, and she's probably in this chat right now. I talked to her back when the Kelsey Barrett case started, and I learned more about Mindy Lee's case. A little bit through there. There was some confusion and some information coming from other sources that I had to weed through, and we released some stuff and some different recordings with Vicky. But over the past year, I've kept in contact with Vicky through Facebook, through mutual followers on Dad with a Phone. And recently I told Vicky, I said, I want to meet with you at the beginning of the year. I want to talk to you. I want to have you on the podcast. I want to hear the story. Today, I took the opportunity to go down and have lunch with Vicky and one of her friends. And she got to tell me firsthand the story of what happened. But she was telling me the story with a 10-year-old memory. And just like you and I mean, 10 years ago, I barely remember things that have happened. And she pulled this big pink bag out, and she had files and files of police reports. And I have pictures, and I have copies, and I have access to any of the police reports that they have access to. And I have copies and can have access to all that paperwork, right? But paperwork for me, I don't go through paperwork. I don't do paperwork, right? There's other people that are going, and we're going to read the police reports eventually. We're going to get to the paperwork. But one thing that she pulled these discs all out of this bag, this big pink bag. And she said, this is recordings and video and stuff. But I didn't quite understand what she was talking about at first. And then she put this back in her bag, and she stuck this bag underneath her seat. And we began to have this conversation, and we began to talk about Mindy Lee's case. And, we were going through what could I do and how could I do it. And I kind of brought back the disc up, and I was like, can I get those discs? And she was like, well, I'll make you a copy. And I was like, I don't want to wait. Can I get those discs? Will you release those discs to me and let me take them, and I'll dump them on a thumb drive, and then I'll get them to you. And she told me what this was, and she had her little personal recorder, and she's like, I recorded everything, and I recorded conversations and stuff. And I was like, okay. But then I got home, and I began to look through these discs, and there are dozens of recordings, and there are all these different videos, and we're going to sort through all this stuff. But then I had to call her back up, and I called her back up, and I said, Vicky, I don't know if you remember what's on these discs. And if we start playing these recordings, I don't know what's going to happen, because I can't weed through this stuff and then present it to you. I don't want to do that. I want to look at this with as if somebody dumped this on my hands, and we're going to listen to a mom as she goes through a journey to try to find out what happened to her daughter. Now, I don't think we're going to find anything in these discs that they haven't already looked at, that they haven't already talked about. My goal is simply to make a lot of noise around the Mindy Lee case. And that's why I need your help to share, to spread this on every Facebook page, because this is a case that doesn't make sense. It's not logical what they're saying happened. It doesn't make any sense, but yet nobody really cares. Nobody really wants to open a an old case up or a book of worms. And, you know, I don't have the best relationship with the Woodland Park PD. And I'm sure this isn't going to help my relationship with them, because I have listened to a couple of recordings that she had, just slightly. Like I said, we're going to listen to an hour recording that I believe is between a police chief or a super high detective who's or super high ranking officer. The cool thing about this is um, I can't identify everybody on these recordings, especially the audio recordings, because it wasn't like Vicky was like, okay, I'm going in to speak with the police chief of Woodland Park and I'm recording. She would push record like 10 minutes before she got to the building, and then she would walk in with the building. And this thing, might be an hour, but there might be 10 minutes of dead space at the front of it. And so she would just start talking to these dispatch officers, and then other officers would come in, and I think we'll be able to identify people as we go. And I know Vicky will. She will have no problem typing in into chat and letting us know who we're listening to and different things. I'm going to tell you that this is a unique look, because this is a mom doing what a mom does. This is like, I can only hope that every mother would do this for their kids. I could only hope that every mom would turn every rock over, turn every stone over, kick any door that she could kick to find out information. And I think that's what she did. Now, she has held these discs for some of these discs for over 10 years. You can see the date. The date on this one is 12/29 2010. Another one, 12/29 2010. Some of these recordings are into the 2014 era. Some of these are in the 2011 era. And so we're going to go over these. We're not going to go over them all tonight. We'll be here all night, but we're going to start. We're going to kick into this, and it's not necessarily going to be the most smooth transition between videos and stuff, because like I said, some of these are 10-minute videos, some of them are 4-minute videos, some of them are 30-second videos. And so as we go through this, listen. I may explain and answer questions as we go, because Vicky's doing this when she already knows the story. The simple story, the quick version of Mindy Lee's story, is that on Thanksgiving Day 2010, Mindy Lee and her 4-year-old daughter at the time drove up to Woodland Park and met up with a couple of people. They were in Divide, Colorado, in the Sherwood Forest area. And at some point, Mindy Lee and her daughter exit their vehicle, leave their vehicle. They stay the night in Divide, and then the next day they're down doing Black Friday sales. Their plan was to come down. There's going to be some Black Friday sales going on. They come into they're doing something throughout the day, but then in the evening time they come into Woodland Park. The story is that the friends that were with Mindy Lee say that Mindy Lee got sick, that she got ill, and that they were going to take her to the urgent care. But before they could get her to the urgent care, Mindy Lee, on the 26th, the day after Thanksgiving, jumps out of the vehicle, disappears. And and we're gonna listen to them tell this, but there's this elaborate story that she runs away, And then on December 1st, and like for all intents and purposes, that day after Thanksgiving time frame, it could be on Thanksgiving Day, but I think it was the 26th, the day after Thanksgiving ish. There was a day in between there, but there was she she jumped out, she went running down, she disappeared. And then she had disappeared up until December 1st, when one officer found her body in the football fields at the Woodland Park High School. Now, there's this period of time between when she went missing and when she was found that Mindy's mom was running around Woodland Park. She was running around looking for her daughter. She had people looking for her daughter. They did a dog sweep. They did a bunch of stuff in between the time she went missing and when she was found, but they did it all in the area where she was found, but they didn't find her until 5 days later. And so there is this confusion of where was Mindy Lee for this missing time. There's no way she was just where she lied on the football field, that something happened. She had either been kept captive, she had been hiding from people, but all of a sudden she shows back up, and the official report is that she died of hypothermia. And you're going to hear throughout these different broadcasts, you're going to hear versions of the story from different people: the coroner, the police, Mindy Lee's mom. You're going to hear her talk about different places where she went, how they talked to her, where they met with her, and different things. And so it is going to be a unique experience for all of us, because we're going to see this through a mother's eyes, who this is less than 30 days after her daughter was found dead. And there is just so many unanswered questions, and there are so many just things that don't add up. And so let's make some noise. I don't want you to share this video for my benefit. I don't want you to like this video for my benefit. I don't want you to spread the word about Mindy Lee for my benefit. I want to find someone who knows something. And the only way that happens is if we begin to scream things from the mountaintops. This year will mark 10 years since Mindy Lee was found dead at the football fields. And to this very date, no one has been held accountable for this. There has been no real explanation of what happened. But in my experience and in my opinion, someone knows something. I said it earlier today. I am going to say some major prayers of conviction, condemnation, whatever, guilty conscience on everyone who knows something. And I'm going to pray that over the next year, that the cloud of conviction falls so heavy on the people involved in this, that their best option is to come forward and give some closure in what they know. There may be somebody out there that has nothing to do with this, that has information because someone said something at a party when they were drunk. They said we got away with murder, or we got to remember the Mindy Lee case. I know what happened in that. Somebody knows something. Somebody knows something. And I think 2020 is the year we're going to find that stuff out. So let's just start diving into this, and we'll go from here. So this first video we're going to watch is Mindy Lee's mother at the Loafing Jug. Now, what makes this Loafing Jug a part of this case is because this is where Mindy Lee's mother came to speak with the police, came to speak, and this is on the day that Mindy jumped out of the car. This is on the day that Mindy disappeared. This is on the day that they say she did this. She just disappeared. And so the police didn't call her to the police station to talk to her. For some reason, they wanted to meet her at the Loafing Jug. Now, the Loafing Jug doesn't necessarily have any significance and doesn't play a part necessarily in in the actual missing of Mindy Lee. But that's why it's weird. Why did the cops call her to the loafing jug and not call her to the police station? Why did they want to meet with her at a gas station? And these are questions she has that have really never been answered. And so we're going to start on these videos.
This is a loafing jug where I was first called to meet the officers on the night of November 26th, Friday, the Friday after Thanksgiving. The first loafing jug on US 24 on the right hand side when you enter Woodland Park on the right hand side. It's the first loafing jug that you come to going west.
So that was the first 30-second video. And we'll keep going.
I'm going into this store located in Woodland Park. Going into the store. Hello. Hi. Hello, how are you? Hello. I'm going into the store and I met them, the police officers in this area at this point, and this is where I asked Kim for my daughter's wallet. She gave me a wallet that looked nothing like it. I asked where her purse was. She said everything was thrown around inside the car. She brought me a purse with 2 items in it. Purse didn't look like hers, had the wallet. I do have the wallet. Then I asked where the shoes were that she said she kicked off. They brought them in and sat them right at this table. And when the police officers left and Kim left to go back to Divide, the officers left. When I was leaving with my granddaughter Aspen, I picked up the shoes and we went back to my truck so I could show them where Andrea's father lives. That would be the only other person that she knew in Woodland Park off of Rampart Range Road.
All right. In that video, I guess I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. She said the name Kim. Kim was one of the people that Mindy Lee was with on the night that she went missing. She's one of the people who said Mindy Lee jumped out of the car. Now we're going to get into relationships between Kim and Mindy, and we're going to talk about that as we go. But right now we're going to just watch these videos. Oh, wait, let's escape here. But I will address when she brings someone up in a video so that we can have a little bit of clarity. So she's just recounting as she remembered it, and this is only 30 days. Literally, this is 30 days after it happened. So these videos are from 2010.
I am here at Forest Edge Park entrance to where Shannon and Kim said they drove into Forest Edge Park. I will be walking up to the street sign here that reads, as I get closer, it reads Forest Edge Circle. And if you come this way, it reads Rampart Range. Let me back up here. Get this in. Rampart Range Road. I'll be going into this development following the directions that Shannon gave the police and myself.
We're going to keep going. So she's going to take us into the neighborhood. This is going into the neighborhood in which, where they say Mindy Lee jumped out of the car. This is about a 4-minute video.
This is the development I'm driving through. I was following Shannon's directions to go over 2 speed bumps, make a right after the second speed bump that is coming up here. These are the homes and Forest Edge. I am now coming up to Forest Hill Lane, which I will be making a right. This is Forest Hill Lane. I will be going up now to the first street that they said was on Park View. It's a dead end cul-de-sac, and this is Park View, has no outlet. If you look on the sign, Park View has no outlet. This is the street they said she jumped out of, and he followed her through this development here. And as you will see, there's not a whole lot of houses. I believe they could have done a 911 reverse to look for Mindy immediately due to the conditions of the weather and also the terrain, for someone to be running through this area. No shoes, no coat, no purse, no cell phone. And I'm going to be pulling up. He told me to look for a house on the right hand side of the street. This right now is a view of the left because I'm driving, but look on the right hand side of the street. I will see an empty house with a white metal carport. So I am pulling up here right now, and that she ran through here and he tried to chase her and lost her in this backyard. So as I get out of the car, this is the address right here. This is the address on Parkview Road. This is supposedly the empty house that he talked about. This is the carport that he talked about, a white metal carport. He said, and he tried to catch her. If you look at the ground here, this is very, very rocky. This is very, very rocky for no one with no shoes. If you look at the terrain here, she would have to have had something wrong with the bottom of her feet. There's wood sticks, there's branches. I'm following this through. I'm following this through the back. As we get here, you will notice there's metal. There is all of this here. And if she came through here, you will see there is a fence here, which is padlocked. Unless she could scale this fence, I don't know. If she went over here to the neighbors through this yard, she would be running this way if I have permission to go through this yard. She would be cutting through the townhouses, which I will now go to next. She would have to scale a large fence with barbed wire.
All right, there's a couple of things I want to address. She talks about someone named Shannon. All right, Shannon, Kim, Mindy, and Mindy's 4-year-old daughter were in the vehicle when they came into this neighborhood. The story says when they got to in front of this house, she jumped out of the car and took off. And Vicky just walked us through what she, again, we're not talking 10 years prior. This video was taken 30 days after this happened. So this is 10. I have to stress this because I don't want people to think that this is a walkthrough yesterday. This is a walkthrough 30 days after this went down. And so she walks us the route that they say they would have gone. And we're going to just keep going. This is number, what number was this? Stop sharing. We're going to go share screen, Chrome. All right. We'll keep going with videos.
That is the house below this. I am now filming these homes here on the right-hand side of this dead-end cul-de-sac. These homes actually look over that football field. And this, if you look at the ground here, look at the ground closely, she would have something wrong with her feet if this is actually what they said happened. These homes look over the football field. I don't know how a girl with no shoes could run through here. This is a wooded area. These homes overlook the football field where her body is found. I'm now going to drive down to the school and also show fences that she would have to scale.
Yeah, I hear a lot of you, saying what a lot of us are already thinking. So this is why Vicky's doing this, is because the story that she's been told doesn't make any sense. This story doesn't make any sense that they told her. And so this is why she's out there trying to figure this out, because if the story is true, if in fact somebody, if in fact what they're saying is true, is they're saying that Mindy Lee ran off from her daughter, ran out of a car, and ran across this, rock trains. This is a rough area. It's where we live on crushed granite. So anything in the woods is crushed rocks, crushed granite, sharp rocks, stickers. So she's going through. And now what you're about to say is if she took the short route over that little, instead of going over the padlock fence, and she went to the right and went through that little 3-rail fence and ran down the privacy fence that was padlocked, she's going to run into this area, where we're headed right now with this video. So here you go.
I am at the townhouse. You'll see this address says 401. I'm going to walk through this area here. If she came through here, and as you walk through, I will give you the name of this street. This is a no outlet. This is where homes are. You would see from here, right through here, I am walking, and you will see in the distance those blue barrels, that shed. But she would have to go down this embankment here. She would have to go down this embankment here. Look at the ground. It's not smooth ground. And then if she came down here from this location, she would then have to, with no shoes, be able to scale that fence below. And these are from townhouses here. You can look in the distance. Bring this in. You will see those blue barrels where that shed is, where her body was found. If you look, here's the school. It's all around here. Then I'm going to go from another cul-de-sac. If you came down, look this direction here. Those are the houses, the backs of the houses. In the distance here, that is the street there. Those are the homes that look over, so you can have a good direction of what's going on. Those are the homes on Park View. There is the brown house that he said, you can see the back of it, you can see the white shed. She would have had to scale that fence or go through that yard, come down, all of this, and I still believe there would be something here on her feet.
Now, as she's talking, why she keeps mentioning her feet, and for those that are new at this case, Mindy Lee was found slumped over. She was slumped over. I'm not 100% sure exactly the clothes she was wearing, but we'll get that information as we move through this case. But she wasn't wearing like winter clothes. I think she may have had shorts on or light t-shirt and shorts, but she was barefoot. And the reason that Vicky keeps mentioning the feet is because there was zero marks on her feet except for some calluses, a few calluses that were already there. But there were zero marks on her feet. Now, this video that we just went through, some of you have actually gone to this place with me, and this is not level ground. This is a drainage ditch that goes straight down, or not straight down, but it has a pretty good slant to it, and there's holes. I mean, not potholes, but like drainage holes that have been run out. I know this area very well, and this is not a place that somebody could just run through barefoot at night and not. I don't think you could make it to those sheds without literally twisting an ankle, break an ankle, bust your foot, cut your foot, fall down and be covered in scratches, bruises, and stuff like that. And so this is why Vicky is showing you the terrain that, first of all, they said she jumps out the car, she leaves her 4-year-old daughter. I know that the question has been asked, what does the 4-year-old, was she old enough to witness? We're going to get to this. We're going to get to that. We're not getting that to that tonight, but we're going to get to that at some point in these recordings and these episodes, that there is a different story that is told. There is a different story, a different narrative, other than the narrative of Shannon and Kim. And we are not going to let it slide. And that narrative has been protected for many reasons, for many, many years. And we are going to get there. So hang on. We're getting there. We're barely getting started. So let's throw in another video here. Like I said, I'm going at this in a very raw manner. Now, this next two videos are very short, and I wish you would have kept recording. This video right here I'm about to play is literally like a 3-second video, and it's of a man who walks up to her. We don't hear this conversation because for some reason Vicky may have accidentally, I don't think she did it on purpose, but she stopped recording. But I'm going to play everything. I'm playing everything from the personal recordings of Mindy Lee's mother. And so these haven't been heard. A lot of the times the cops didn't even know she was recording. So this next one's a very short video, but you hear a gentleman walk up, and then Vicky is going to tell the story. For some reason, she stopped the recording, but again, I can't even believe she was doing this. This was ahead of the game. She was ahead of the time. This is a mother. This is a mother you don't mess with. She is looking for answers, and this has been 10 years, and she ain't stopping yet.
Yeah. Out here and have a smoke often, and that.
So that video was very short, I know. And then this next video, she explains kind of that conversation that she has with that gentleman. And there might be somewhere a recording, because we're just getting started and I'm just going through this stuff as I got it. And so we may find a video or an audio recording along the way that has that information and that guy, but she's about to tell that story right now.
I'm here at 401 on this street that overlooks the football field. I am leaving. I just met a gentleman. His name is Paul. He gave me his card. You're more than welcome to call him. He was here that night. He did see flashlights, and he actually lives at, as you come in, these are the condos that overlook the baseball field. He says since Mindy's body was found, they cleaned it up, they rearranged. He can't imagine her scaling a fence. If there was an opening, there is a way. And he lives on Mountain View Road, 401. I have his card. He'd be more than happy to help, but he did see flashlights that night. He remembers it very well. So now I'm going to go to the school and we will do that. But it's just amazing, the people. He came out, saw me out there, and introduced himself. And he said it's a great place to take pictures. And I told him who I was, and then he proceeded to talk to me. And his name is Paul. He's a manager, owner of a company here. And I have his number is 719-306-2962. And he was here, and he is amazed that they did not find her either.
All right, what she's talking about when she said that last statement is because, listen, this is why this is weird, because there was a 5-day stretch where they didn't know where she was at, and they searched all of this area. They had a dog, a cadaver dog, run around, and the dog marked on that house, back at that house. And we have that map and the way that dog went around this and kept coming back to that house and kept coming back to that vacant house. That was a vacant house. And Kim and Shannon both have ties to that vacant house. And so we're going to continue to look at that area, and we're going to talk about different things like motive. We're going to talk about, and so as we go through this, there are some things that Vicky is dropping, like where she said they didn't find her. It's because she's saying they didn't find her during those initial first searches when they had people and dogs going everywhere. They had cops going everywhere. They didn't find her leaned up against, the dog didn't go over to her. The dog ran all around that football field and didn't go over to the shed where they say Mindy was for 5 days. And so you got to understand that that's why she just said, they didn't find her. He was amazed they didn't find her. They ended up finding her, but it was days later. So I want to explain that they had searched all that area before, and then all of a sudden she shows up there, and one officer finds her, and there's some difficulty with getting a search party going. They didn't want a search party. They gave them a hassle about getting on school property to search and all this weirdness. And then all of a sudden, one officer does a grid search and finds her, and then goes down this list of stuff and different things. But we're going to continue with these videos. And Mindy Lee's mom has given us a great look at where this all took place, but not only giving us a great look at where it took place, she's looking at this 30 days after it happened. So That's what really makes these videos so important, is because you get to see the terrain not 10 years later, not when the changes have happened. You get to see it just days after this thing went down. Okay, this next video is going to be a 10-minute video. So I have a feeling that this is like, I think this is her driving around now and trying to tie all this together. So this next video is going to be about 10-minute video. Thanks for joining. If you're just joining, you are watching never before seen footage from a mother's personal diary, personal journey to get answers in her daughter's death. And so these haven't been seen. These were taken over 10 years ago, and this is the first time the public is being able to look at these and hear these. These are not edited. I don't even know what Vicky's going to say in these videos, and so that's what you're watching. So craft your words carefully if you want to be critical, if you want to criticize, because this is a mom searching for answers. Okay, so I ask that, and I ask that people be respectful in chat, and I'm not going to sit here and try to police chat, but this is real. This is real life. This is a mom looking for answers when her daughter goes missing and then is found dead, and she's told this elaborate, not logical story. It doesn't make sense. The evidence doesn't back up the story they're saying. Oh, wait. This was going to be the first one. Y'all didn't have audio on, so I almost messed up. Sorry about that, kids. Wait, cancel. Sorry. And I'm bringing you this raw. Am I cutting my head? Yeah, I'm bringing you this raw, and I'm pulling straight from these files, so they are not edited. Again, this is a 10-minute video we're about to watch. I believe this is some sort of drive-through of the area. She's going to take us on a drive around the same area and tell the story, and she continues. And I love how she did this, because, she tells the same story 10 years later. But for me, this is the most credible information you could have about a case, because this is fresh. This is 30 days afterwards. And so it really gives us a look into what happened, and it's almost a pure look at it, because it's so close after the event. We're not looking at this through my eyes, going to the same area, guessing on what happened. This is so fresh in her mind right now, and it was brilliant of her to video this and keep these files. I'm amazed, absolutely amazed at what this is.
I am now here at the school. I am pulling in. If you go up this way, the cabins are on the same entrance on Thunderbird Village Point. I'm going to go into the entry of the school right now. I'm going to see if the gate is open as it was yesterday. Unfortunately, my pictures I took yesterday did not come out. I am going through to the school at this point. I hope the gate is opened. I think it is. So I'm going in. This is the entrance to the school. I know there is a sign here that says stadium entrance, no vehicles. I'm going into where they found her body. I'm driving up at this point here, and going through. I'm coming up. This is a long ways if she had to run this way. I'm coming through. I'm still coming through another gate. If you look at the fencing, the scaling here to go over this fence. If you look at the fence down, you come back up, look at the barbed wire she would have to climb over. So far, there isn't an opening here. We're coming through, still coming. Look at the fence. Look at the fence. I'm coming in. Here I go. This is the practice field here. This is the shed. You're looking at the blue barrels. I'm getting out of the car right now. This is the shed. This is where they found her, where the blue barrels are. As you can see, they're all stacked up. The blue barrels are still here. This is where they found Mindy's body. I can't get in this gate. But talking to the gentleman here, he told me they really redid everything. There was an opening here, and they just fixed it. You can talk to the school at Woodland Park here and probably get their records. I'm going to continue my drive up the road to show the backs of the houses and also the townhouses. So I'm going to continue up the road. I'm backing up. Going up the road. I will continue. This is the football field. I was just up here. You can see the terrain. She would most definitely need shoes to get through this rugged property if we ran through. We're going to be coming up the back side of Parkview, the dead end street that Shannon and Kim said that she ran out of. We are coming upon this. I will get pictures from here so I can show you what she'd have to run through. I'm putting my car in park, getting out, getting a different view of the football field from up here. She'd have to run down here. Here's the ground. Here is the ground. I'm going to be walking up this terrain here. There's twigs, everything here, all up here. And as we proceed up here, you will find, again, the back of that house that Shannon talks about. Look through all of this. She would have to run through look at all this. Look at this. She'd have to step all over this. No shoes coming down. There's the back of that house, again, where he said he last saw her. And there we are. And I'm going to turn around, give you the view. Look at this ground. Look at the ground. Look at the ground. Could somebody run through all of this without shoes? Is beyond me, and have no marks on the bottom of their feet. Up here we go. I'm walking on this. I have shoes on. It's hard to walk through this terrain. There's the back of the house. Those are the backs of the houses on Parkview. There we go. I'm going to continue around. You will find the back of 401 that I just left. Coming back down the hill, coming down. This is what she would have to run through with no shoes on. If this is the path that Shannon said she took, this is exactly what she would have had to run through. And there's rocks, sticks, branches. I don't believe anybody in their right mind would walk through this hillside from leaving on Parkview to end up at this football field out here would not have a mark on their feet. There you go. Here's a whole view. I'm going to do a pan. There is the practice football field, main football field in the distance, the back of the high school. As I pan around, you will see the backs of the townhouses that all looked over this park, this football field here at Woodland Park High School. I'm going to continue my ride up here, and I'm going to go to the back of that man's house, Paul, that I just spoke with. Here we go. Back in the car. I'm continuing this ride up here. Here we go. This is what she would have had to get through to end up at this baseball field. And as I pull in, you'll see at this point, here is the back of 401 that I just left with that gentleman in the back. These are the backs of the townhouses right here, back of the townhouse. There again, the backs of the houses, which are only about 10, could have done a 911 reverse. People could have been out here and found her body. There's the brown house again. That's the fence. That is also the back of that brown woodside house with that white carport, and the following house. It all goes through here. And if you look at this terrain, here we go again. This is to go directly up there. This is the ground she would have had to run on. This is the ground right here. Look at these gullies. There's gullies. Reference to, if you look at these gullies through here, these are all gullies. Things are sticking out. Here's the tall grass. There you go. All through here. And you're going to tell me this girl with no shoes on, she would have nothing, no cuts on the bottom of her feet. This is all in back of the houses. All in back. Here we go. Here I am. This is here. And there's the school again. This is from the back of the houses on Park View and the backs of the townhouses. I'm now going to go into the front of the school and tell you, here again, you look in the far distance, the brown building where her body was.
What you're watching, I know a lot of you are jumping in. You're watching video footage from literally 30 days after they found Mindy Lee. This video footage was recorded by Mindy Lee's mom. The reason she records this video footage is because she doesn't believe the story that Kim and Shannon are telling the police. Now, I don't know why the police believe the story Kim and Shannon are telling, because I've heard this story before. I've driven that area 100 times. I've ridden my bike up and down a trail that runs right there where she's at. That road that she's driving around is now closed off to vehicles, but you can run around it on a bicycle, and I've taken people there. But to see this video was taken 30 days after her daughter was found there. The terrain didn't change that much. People have asked how much snow was on the ground. As a matter of fact, there was very little snow on the ground the day that she took off. It then snowed after Thanksgiving, and the snow was a good. There was a good snowstorm that came in, and then she was found. She was found slumped over on the shed that she's mentioned a few times, but there was only one set of footprints, but it wasn't bare feet prints there. It wasn't bare feet print. It was boot prints. And we'll get there. We're going to get there. We're going to get to all of it. I know a lot of you have heard speculation. A lot of you have heard rumors. A lot of you have heard Vicky tell this story. No one has ever seen these videos. These videos were just released to me today. Nobody in the public. There are people who have seen these videos, investigators and different people. But I was given this that Vicky has held close to her heart, and to the point where she has made copies and given it to other people to say, please, if something happens to me, if something were to happen to this stuff, that you would keep this stuff safe. Today, after a long conversation in person over lunch, and then another long conversation on the phone, where I was almost trying to talk Vicky out of letting me release these videos, because I said, I am going to make noise. This isn't going to be a one-off podcast that I talk about Mindy Lee. I have way too much stuff to share with you. We've already been going an hour, and I've been playing video after video with very little commentary, and I'm about to go an hour long. We're getting closer to the end of these first section of videos, but then I'm about to go into an hour long conversation where the mom is talking to detectives. And I mean, let me put it this way. Vicky was, she was dad with the phone before there was dad with the phone. She was not scared to ask hard questions. She talks to the coroner. She talks to the DA. She talks to the cops. She wanted answers, and no one has been able to give her answers. So what we're trying to do is wake this case up. We need to wake this case up, and we need someone who knows something, whether they were a part of it or whether they kept silent or whether they had never heard of it and they moved away. Somebody told them something when they got drunk sometime in the last 10 years about this case. We need to wake someone up that knows something, because that's the only way we're going to get justice for Mindy. The cops are not going to give us justice for Mindy. We are not going to rely on the FBI to give us justice for Mindy. We are not going to rely on Colorado Springs CBI. We're not going to rely on those guys. They had their chance. They had their chance. Now the world has changed. There are 7 billion people out there, 8 billion people in the world. Somebody knows something about the Mindy Lee case. And if you will come forward, we can change something. We can stir something. We can wake something up. We're going to continue to watch videos. I'm sorry I had to get into a rant there, but that's why we're doing this. I'm not doing this for views, clicks, subscriptions, money. I'm doing this to wake somebody up. I'm doing this to make some noise, to bring justice in Mindy Lee's case. I told you at the beginning of 2020, we were going to shake a case up. We were going to solve a case. We were going to open a cold case up. You better wake up, folks, because this is it. This is the one. I need you to get behind this, begin to share this on every group that you know of, because we're about to harness the power of something they haven't ever done in this case. And we're going to harness the power of social media, YouTube, the true crime community, the sleuthers out there, and we're going to shake something up. We're going to continue to watch the personal diaries, the personal videos of Mindy Lee's mother right now. This next video is 43 seconds long. She's going to continue to talk about the terrain. She's going to talk about how there's no way her daughter ran across this stuff. I'm getting fired up, folks. I'm getting excited because I know what's about to take place. I know what's going to take place in this case. We're going to be on it. We're going to be on it more than once. This isn't a one-off, folks.
Look at this terrain. Here we go. More sticks, more branches, rocks she would have to go through. Here is the regular football field. And if you look this way, there is the brown building. But that is the practice football field where the brown building is. This is the actual football field and track here at Woodland Park High. So I will be, and if you look at the fence, there's the fence, barbed wire fence.
Oh, I'm getting pumped. Somebody just asked Rose, can they exhume the body? Yes, they can. you're going to hear about something that we're going to get into as we continue to watch these videos, and we're going to talk about some things. But I do believe there was a physical struggle that happened, and something that they never did is they never scraped the fingernails of Mindy Lee. But there was definitely signs, and we're going to talk about this more as we get into this case. Again, we're just getting started. They never scraped the fingernails of Mindy Lee and collected that DNA. And as I spoke with Vicky today, there is to exhume a body, it costs money. To exhume a body, it takes money to move some things. But they are in the process. They are working in that way. I told her I don't know if that's what we need or if DNA is going to solve this case. Maybe that's what we have to do, is stir enough that they exhume the body of Mindy Lee and take a second look. Because I can tell you right now, Al Bourne did bullshit that you're going to hear in just a little bit about the coroner in El Paso County that wasn't worth a damn. And so, yes, the answer is yes, they can exhume the body. Yes, they can do that, but it's going to cost some money, and there's going to be some legal battle to make that happen. And we're going to have to make a lot of noise. You and I are going to have to shake the world up to listen to this case, because people don't want to. We need someone to come forward to give us something. And I'm telling you right now, there is somebody out there that's been living with a guilty conscience that is going to get woke up as we begin to uncover this information, as you begin to make noise. So yes, that is possible. Here we go. We got another video coming. This one's a 4-minute video, and we'll just keep it going. We're gonna watch some of these, and then we'll keep going.
Here's the front of Woodland Park High School. Panthers, Woodland Park High, home of the Panthers. Here we go. This is all in front of the high school, and this will take you back out onto Rampart Range Road. I'm still going. This is a very large high school. I'm going to take you to the side of the school. So that's going, if you look out there, that's all Rampart Range. All out here. This is the auditorium. This is the auditorium. Now, as you can see, these are town here. I'm going to take you into the back of the school. Here are the townhomes on the side of the school. I'm going to pull over, park. This is what she would have to go over. This fencing here, I'm going to park. She would have to be able to get over this fencing here. There are the homes here. She would have to be able to go. This is the side of the high school. These are the townhouses over here to the subdivision of Forest Edge. As we walk upon this, look at the ground here, look at the ground, look at the ground. These are things she would have to get over. And here we go. These are the backs of the other townhomes. She would have to be able to scale these fences right here. If she have to scale them, come down here. My daughter, I don't believe, is that athletic. Here we go. Here we go here. We're in the back of the high school. As you can see, that's a regular football field. Again, look, all of this fencing surrounds this high school at Forest Edge. Here you go. There you go. Look at this ground. Yeah, sure. She can run over rocks, pebbles, and not have anything wrong with her feet. Nothing wrong with her feet. As we come up this way, here's the back of the high school. She ran through here. she'd have to come up this road, scale retaining walls, ditches. If she ran in the back of the school, she'd have to see the retaining walls, ditches, have to climb up these, come up the retaining wall, come up here, and there you will see I'm coming upon the main football field. As you can see, above that is the practice field. Behind those lights, the second fencing, this is all fenced. But if you call that Paul, he said there was a broken part in the fence and they did a repair after finding Mindy's body. So it is possible they could have came up that access road that I was on behind the hospital that belongs to the high school and dumped her body there at the shed. There you can see again, same houses, same there.
I'm sorry about that. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. So what's happening in these videos is that she's telling the story of what they told her. So when you hear her like say, I don't believe that, or there's no way that could have happened, the reason she is saying that is because the story that they told was that Mindy jumped out of this car, left her 4-year-old daughter in the car, and these other two people, Kim and Shannon, and they run out, and she runs across this field, ends up sitting next to this shed, freezes to death. They find her 5 days later after they had already searched this area anyway. And so even the idea that they find her 5 days later doesn't make sense to me. But the one thing that is clear, and this was brought forth by the investigators, her feet, she was barefoot and the bottom of her feet were completely clean. They didn't have a scratch on them. They didn't have a mark on them. They had some calluses on them. I think I heard later, we'll hear some recordings, some audio recordings. I think I heard the coroner say she had some bruises on her knees and stuff, but they weren't like, she wasn't like completely scraped up or scratched up or anything like that. And so, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. There's a lot of things that went that they just didn't investigate deep into. A lot of people have asked, was the old Patrick Frazee involved? And I have talked about this, and I've even talked with Mindy's mom about this. And there was some information that was brought towards Mindy's mom at the early part of the Patrick Frazee case that they were playing on the Patrick case, and they were trying, and I even talk about pointing the finger at Patrick. Had maybe Patrick killed before, and different things. I don't think this is the case. Okay. And I'm telling you this after a long talk with Mindy's mom about how she got that information and where that information came from. And so I want to clear that up because I have done videos and I have actually played those videos, and those videos are still online, kind of pointing the finger at Patrick on this case. Now, I don't know 100% that Patrick wasn't involved, because there are a few ties that Mindy had that were close to Patrick. There is some places she had visited she could have known Patrick and Sean and Aaron Frazee. But at this time, after I've been presented some other evidence, and after I've been talked with Mindy Lee's mom a little bit more about how she came up with those ideas and where that information came from, I have to say that I don't believe that Patrick Frazee is the reason why or behind Mindy's death. Now, we're going to talk about some motive, and we're going to talk about some different things. We'll talk about that on this video. I'll make sure to get to that. We've been going for an hour. I still got more videos to play. I got probably about 4 or 5 more videos to play. And then I have an hour-long conversation between Mindy Lee and I believe it is the active police chief. I could be wrong, but I think it was the active police chief at the time. I don't have that guy's name right in front of me, but and another investigator. So we're going to listen to a couple more videos. Then we're going to play an audio that's about an hour long and listen to what the cops are saying, what their plan is. You're gonna hear Vicky throw down with them and tell them what she thinks about them and what she thinks about the investigation and stuff. So this is going to build. We're not. I can't go through all this tonight. We would be here for 6 hours going through this stuff. So this next video is more of the terrain. She's showing more of the terrain. I'm going to play all this. Again, this is never before seen footage to the public. This has been seen by some investigators. This has been seen by some people that have been investigating this case, but no one outside of you guys, Dad with the phone, has ever seen this footage before. And so this is the first time it's being shown.
I'm turning around, leaving. This is the terrain. This is the terrain. Here we go. I'm still recording. There we go. We're still coming down. Here we go. We're stopping. Here's the fence up here, so a car can't come up, but that side access road is open. Here we go. Go around. And this kind of seems unbelievable. We have a resource officer out here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and they know a girl is missing. Her body's found Wednesday morning. And all these grounds belong to the high school. He is a high school resource officer that is over this. Gomes is the one that found her body. If he knew a girl was missing, people are searching. Volunteers are asked through the media, not the police department. The family asked the media to help them. They needed help. And then, miraculously, her body is found Wednesday morning, an hour before I'm leaving the school, an hour before the volunteer search, where hundreds of concerned people came to help search for my daughter. I am doing this. I'm ending it now as I'm leaving the park. Here's your sign, student parking. You have to still go out quite a ways to get to the highway, a Rampart Range Road. I just want to let you know this is being recorded and videoed by Vicky White, Mindy Lee's mother, as I feel that a proper investigation was never done. I'm leaving now. Here we go. Here's the whole front of the school as I'm leaving, going back down towards McDonald's. And that's another thing. They thought they found 2 McDonald wrappers. I was told by the partner of Sergeant McCormick, or Detective McCormick. Her partner's name is Kenny, the other detective. And he told me they found 2 McDonald's wrappers. Now, this is a long ways for somebody to run down to McDonald's, out to US 41. I'm driving. You can see how long it's taking. This is all the front of the school. that she ran down here and possibly got 2 cheeseburgers. And we're not even here yet. We're just coming to the stop sign to the other end of the high school where you would turn to go in. It's called Pikes Peak Avenue. And we're going to follow through. I am still driving to by, and this is on the left side of the road going out back towards 24. And you can see I'm still driving, but yet a girl with no shoes, no coat, no money, no phone can run to McDonald's, which I'm approaching now, can run to McDonald's and grab 2 cheeseburgers. But now they did get the video just recently of McDonald's, and now they say the cheeseburger wrappers possibly came, and I now arriving at McDonald's on US 41.
Just to clear up a few things, that's actually US Highway 24, but it's not to take away from what's happening. A lot of questions being asked and a lot of statements being made in that last video from Vicky. A couple of things I want to address. She talks about the resource officer. What she's talking about is, so there was 5 days that Mindy was missing. On the 5th day, they had organized a massive search party to start around 10 o'clock. Somewhere at around 8 o'clock, the resource officers, the one resource officer, his name is Sean Gogans or Gorgons, and I'll get more. Somebody probably knows his names, and knows his spelling. He's actually still an officer in Woodland Park, and I'm going to reach out to him to get his take on this. If he'll talk to me, I don't know if he'll talk to me, but I'm going to reach out to him. I don't know why anyone wouldn't want to talk about this case unless they wanted to cover it up. To talk about this, even if you did your job right, I don't know why you wouldn't talk about this. So I'm going to reach out to him, and if he refuses, then I'll blast his ass right here on Dad with a phone. But I'm going to give him his opportunity. What she's talking about is they had scheduled this big search party, and then all of a sudden, the one officer, after people had been running around this place looking, after they had a cadaver dog run around. By the way, that cadaver dog kept going back to the front door of that house. And Mindy Lee's mom said, "Can we get in this house? It's a vacant house. Let's get in this house." And they would not allow her to get into the house. They would not go into the house. They would not contact the owners to get into that house, even though they had a missing woman and they had a cadaver dog that was going to the front door of that house. Very, very possible that they stored Mindy Lee's body in there for 5 days and then moved it to the football fields. She also talks about this McDonald's trip. This is because they found a receipt from McDonald's, which means Mindy would have had to jump out of the car, run across the entire school property, and then run all the way down to the McDonald's, get a cheeseburger with no money. She didn't have her wallet on. She was barefoot. It was cold out. She was in shorts and a t-shirt. Then she would have had to run all the way back, lay down, and die? Come on. Come on. Now listen. They never found video footage of her at the McDonald's, but yet they continue to tell that same story. I believe that they didn't even check the contents of her stomach. I believe I heard her mom ask the coroner that, and he says they don't check the contents of her stomach to even see if she got a cheeseburger in there. I don't know for sure, but we're going to get to all that stuff. But this is the story they told Mindy Lee's mom. And somebody said, I don't know why anybody would spend this much time doing this. A mother, this is her mother. Her daughter was killed 30 days prior, and it's a suicide, hypothermia, suicide, hypothermia, suicide. self-inflicted hypothermia. It gets weirder, folks. We're just starting. You are seeing the personal diary videos. We're going to hear the personal recording videos, audio of her interactions with police officers, her interactions with lawyers, her interactions with the coroner, the medical examiner. And I cannot believe this mother had the foresight to do this. Why am I doing this? Because we need to wake someone up. We need someone that knows something. It has been 10 years since the death of Mindy Lee. November of 2020 will mark 10 years since this happened. We need some justice for Mindy. We need answers. If this was an accident, if they were scared, if for some reason the people involved, Kim and Shannon, and they're still around, folks, they're still around, and they'll be getting a call from Dad with the phone. Don't you worry about that. We're about to jump in this case. If you haven't already just realized that we're going at this in a totally different manner than anyone's ever gone after something, then sit back, get your Cheerios, get your popcorn, because you're watching stuff no one's ever seen. This isn't from 5 days ago. This was recorded 30 days after this woman was found. So this is the closest we can ever touch this case. We're going to look at the official police reports. We're going to go through. I'm going to scan all that shit in. I'm going to get all that stuff. We're going to go through what they said happened. But I thought, without a doubt, these videos tell a much greater story. They give you a much better understanding of the bullshit that was told to people. I lived here at the time, and I believed the bullshit. God, I wish I had been called a little bit earlier. I wish I had woke up a little bit earlier. If I would have known this crap was going down 10 years ago, I would have done something. I swear it. I apologize, Vicky. I apologize. It took me 10 years to wake up. We're going to listen to some more.
They're very busy right now, but they did get the tape from McDonald's, and they have now concluded that she wasn't there. Big surprise. How would she be there running barefoot, no money, no phone? What are they going to do? Just give her 2 cheeseburgers because she looks like she's hungry and it's freezing out? And now I'm leaving. I'll be going back down to Manitou and to document more.
This mom is absolutely great. I think there's one more video, but I'm almost positive that this is a video where she just left the camera running. I'm going to double check it here. Yeah, I think she just left it running. So it's like a minute-long video of just her in the car. What we've just watched is a mother trying to find answers, and she was documenting this for her benefit, and I don't think she even knew I don't think she even knew what was happening. And so I don't think she knew what she was actually doing. And so I think that it is there's a reason for these discs. There's a reason for all this stuff to come out. All right. So what we're about to move into now is going to be a little bit more confusing when it comes to this video, this stuff, because I can't identify everyone in these audio recordings. Vicky doesn't identify the people she's talking to. And so there's going to be some assumptions made by us, but there's going to be clues along the way when we listen. Sean Goings is the investigator. There you go, Lucky Lou. she just put it. Sean Goings was the resource officer who found Mindy. He was a resource officer, a school resource officer was put in charge of this. Not a detective, not a homicide detective, it was Sean Goings, a school resource officer. So I can tell you right now that I can tell you that they didn't have their best cops on it. These guys are not, again, they haven't solved any murders. Even the murder of Kelsey Barrett wasn't solved by Woodland Park PD. It was solved by CBI. It was solved by the FBI. And so the deal was made down in El Paso Springs with Colorado Springs. Crystal Lee Kinney has never even been arrested in this county. So, the officers at this time were young officers. Some of these officers have gone on and are no longer here. Sean Goings, I will fill in their names. See, Vicky White ain't gonna let them go anonymous right there. So Vicky's going to let you know who's on these recordings. This next recording is an hour-long conversation that she has at the Woodland Park. From what I can understand, it's at the Woodland Park Police Department. So we're going to listen. You're going to hear Vicky question these officers. You're going to hear her tell the story, and I'm going to close it off. I'm going to close this first segment off. After this, I'll answer questions. I may pause during the audio of this because there may be things that come up that we just need to address. But I'm probably not going to try to interrupt it too much. I haven't listened to the whole thing. I just listened to like quick little segments of it to say, okay, this is one I can play tonight and we can listen to it tonight. When I tell you that I have dozens of recordings to go through, I have dozens of paperwork to go through, videos to go through. And so we are just getting started with Mindy Lee's case. For the next year, for 2020, it's my goal to get some answers. It's my goal to find someone who knew something that hasn't said something to bring light on this case. So I need your help, which means I need you to push share. And I don't need you to push share or subscribe or like because I need that. Mindy Lee deserves it. Vicky deserves it. Mindy's friends and family, Mindy's daughter deserves it. We deserve to have answers for what happened to Mindy Lee and not take this half-assed story of hypothermia. They love to use hypothermia in Woodland Park to make people feel safe. They don't want to talk about people getting murdered. They don't want to talk about the wickedness in this town. They try to cover it up. They try to shade it. And whether it was incompetence or corruptness, we'll see. We will see. Because if these officers don't want to talk to me and they want to continue to hide something, fine. But if they want to come out and talk about this case and maybe admit some of their mistakes, because they made mistakes. They made mistakes in this case. And if they want to try to run from it and hide from it, I'm going to be the loudest voice they have ever heard shout at them. Because I can tell you right now, Vicky's done. She's ready. She's been holding on to this, trying to do this through the legal system, trying to do this by working with police officers, working with investigators, trying to work with lawyers, trying to get information. She's done. She's not ready to give up. She's just ready to blow up. And so we're going to blow this thing up. And I want you to be there all the way. I want you to be along. I want you to see it happen because I understand the power of the time we live now. And I don't think they understood that Mama wasn't going to throw these discs away. Mama wasn't going to throw these recordings. You're going to hear some stuff on this next recording that will infuriate you. Can you imagine being Mindy Lee's mom? They're having to ask these questions, having to tell them, why haven't you gone and got the coroner report? And them say, well, we don't do that. And the coroner, and she says, the coroner says you have to request that report from him. And then the cop's saying, no, we don't do that. That's not how we do things up here. That's not how we do things up here. Oh, it's going to infuriate you a little bit. I need you to get mad. I do need a little bit of anger with every one of you. I need you to that ball rise up in you of injustice. I need that little indignation to be ignited in you, because I'm not trying to move this case for anybody's benefit except for the justice of Mindy. Oh, I'm gonna get mad. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. I love you guys. Thanks for joining tonight. You're about to join. This is an hour and 3 minutes and 35-second conversation. Now, I'm gonna probably skip through about the first minute of this once I get playing it, because God, I love Vicky. She pushed record early and stopped it late, and that's just brilliant because you get everything. You get everything. All right, here we go. Here we go. Whew. Get fired up. Get fired up. Never before heard audio. Again, this is a recording between Mindy Lee's mom and some cops. Vicky says she'll fill everybody in on the names. When those names come up, I'll try to grab them and make sure I got them. Ah.
And I can do that. I had it before. I think it was 460 something. They might have changed it by now. I don't know.
So she's in the Woodland Park Police Department. They're pulling up the case number.
Yeah, 1147. Okay, because originally I think it was 1140. They might have changed it. With snow. Okay. And Snow's still here, right? Is Tom Snow? Oh, he's not here. Okay. Is Gomes here?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
I love how she's.
I hadn't done that yet. And if you had a minute, I just had a couple questions to ask.
Or an hour.
And because I was supposed to get a call on the 18th from Detective Kenny about the date set for the poly for Kyle. But I did call, but he said he turned it back over to McCormick to get the dates. But when I talked to him, he promised me he'd call on the 18th. That's when he was told to call the polygraph examiner. Oh, sure. Okay. Request phone number. Okay. 719 375
What this is she's first asking about this polygraph of Kyle. Kyle is Mindy Lee's boyfriend. Now, I think this is going to be a voluntary thing that he's going to do. Vicky doesn't feel that Kyle was involved, but there are some other investigators that do not rule out Kyle. So,
well, I want all police reports, all photos.
I understand
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah, no, that's okay. He knows. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. All right.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, hanging in there. Yeah.
Did you get my message this morning?
No, because I've been gone already. Yeah. I have a few questions. And do we have Kyle's dates set yet?
Yeah, I called your, that 3575
Yeah, I was
number this
probably
morning.
gone.
Oh, was that your home?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
my home.
The polygraph is scheduled, but it's not recommended that we tell when it is.
Okay,
Because
I
we don't
just
want
was-
Kyle knowing when it is until right before we do it.
okay, because I didn't know, because I want to go forward with
Yeah.
my civil against them.
Yeah,
Okay.
it
Up
will be
there.
done next week, and the day that I complete that.
Because that's
polygraph,
about the
I'll
only
call you.
thing, because your investigation's mostly done,
Pretty much.
correct?
But
Pretty much, yeah.
it's normal when you do this to tell the person that shortly before it happens, you don't want them to do stuff like try to practice up some story.
Oh, yeah,
Or sometimes people will take a drug to change
Yeah,
their body.
because
response.
Kenny, Detective Kenny, I
Mhm.
guess, he was telling me when you were out with your daughter that the only things that bothered him was, he said, Mindy came by at 9:30 and not at 3, like I said, but she had called me right before she brought the kids over,
Right.
and Kyle's voice was in the background. They were both not going to come for Thanksgiving dinner. And so that was it. And I thought, well, that doesn't have a whole lot to do with a case that's on Thursday, you know, and she went missing
Yeah.
Friday, you know, and if there's no other calls made from her phone since she went missing, that would be the only thing that I would question if she had made a call after Shannon and Kim said she was gone to Kyle and he came and got her, and because of his abusive behavior before, he did something to her.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But never made that, and I picked him up at 11:13 to help me look when I left the police up here,
Yeah.
and he was with me till like 3-4 in the morning, going, still looking for her.
Okay.
So we know where he was between 11:13, is exactly on my phone records, because I called him as I went around the corner. And when I dropped off Aspen. So I know from that time till, and then he's stayed that night with Jay and I, and got up the next morning to go look for it again. So I know from 11:13, he wasn't out of our sight for days. He was actually staying at our house.
The reason I asked Detective McCormick more just because in terms of questions, she's better at
Okay.
answering than I am.
I do have a few questions, okay? And I was just wondering, let's just say, because you're, the detective, what if there's no crime involved, but what is the normal protocol if I was to go take a walk and was living here and I didn't come home, I took a walk and got lost in the woods? What's the normal protocol?
If somebody were to call you in as missing,
Yes,
well,
that I went to
would-
take a walk, and let's say Jay called and said, look, Vicki went to take a walk, she wasn't properly dressed, she didn't have a jacket on, the weather's changed, temperature's dropping. What would be the protocol to look for me?
well, we would come to your house and we'd get a picture of you, we'd get last known description as far as your clothing. We'd get your phone number for cell phone,
Yeah,
because we can, if you have that cell phone and it's on, we can trace it
okay, but
most
no,
of the time.
yeah.
At least get a general area of where you.
but
can
her
be.
phone, because I tried to call it,
Mhm.
okay, was out of the area when I called it, even in front of the
Yeah,
police
but we
officers.
did do that. We tried to trace her phone, and I'd have to review the report, but I think they couldn't trace it, or Cricket told us they couldn't because it was a prepaid phone
No,
or
it's not
something.
prepaid.
I'd have to review the report.
Because I asked if that could be done, and they told me to call. I called Cricket, and Cricket said, and that was on Monday, so she's already gone Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that was on Monday. And then I called back, and I believe it was Kenny that I talked to that said that it was, the South one on Academy could pull those records up. But if it's a life or death, and I'm not even talking with a crime, there's a number you can call for police officers, and they can do it immediately if the phone's on, because their phone was on, but it was out of the
Depends on
area.
whether the person has activated that feature also.
Yeah. And so then it took you a while to get the phone records because you had to do it through the courts. That's what I was told
Yeah,
before.
and then didn't do it.
Okay, just have a few. And then the dogs. I have
That's
a,
what I'm talking about on the phone. I'll show you.
okay.
Some of them have it in a different place, but this little thing means I've got it on.
Yeah.
But I go like that, and I don't have it.
Well, I know that phone never left Dubai. It's an Android because it says out of the area this customer cannot.
This is an Android also.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is, if
Yeah.
I want people to be able to find me, I can leave it turned on,
Yeah.
or I can shut it off.
But I know that phone wasn't here in Woodland Park because she gets a signal here in Woodland Park when she called from the dinosaur.
What I'm
With
getting
the
at
kids,
is,
yeah.
frequently when we go to trace phones, you don't find.
You don't find them. Okay, and then the dogs that came out that night, were they the canine dogs from Teller County or just a dog?
Search and rescue.
Was search and rescue?
Teller County
Teller
dog,
County search and rescue.
was put down
Oh,
with bloodhound.
okay, because I didn't know, because when I called back here, and again, I don't know if it was Kenny, because you didn't come till Tuesday. And we were told that I gave a number to call for those search dogs from Fort Collins that was given to me by a family friend. And when I called them, they said that we couldn't request it, the police department, but they are available for search, cadaver. They have 2 types. And I didn't know that. I just have a lot of questions in my
It's
head.
the search and rescue dog, though, since Teller County's dog.
Okay, so you use search and rescue out of
Teller
It's
County.
Teller County.
Teller County, okay. And I didn't know if it was 1 dog, 2 dogs,
There's one dog.
1 dog, okay. And I didn't know if it was used Friday night or when, and those are questions because in my head, because they didn't ask till Saturday or it was Sunday for the shoes to be brought back up here that were left on the table at
You know
local
when the
judge.
dog come out.
Saturday. I don't know if they called him out Friday. Again, I'll have to review that.
Okay, I
They
just
were
had
here
some
Saturday.
questions. And when the other thing, when Kim said everything was thrown around in the car, I believe it was Officer Snow, because he gave me his card.
Okay.
And everything's thrown around in Kim's car, and she said everything's all thrown around. And we asked for the purse, and she brought in that purse with just a couple items, and I showed you that. That normally would somebody go out and look at the inside of the car because they're saying that nobody went and looked at the inside of that car.
Saturday, when I got called Saturday, that's when I got called to come in to help investigate. I went to the house Saturday night in Florida.
Yeah, but we already
And I had
cleaned it
looked-
out.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I looked through the house, I looked through the car that she was in
The-
when she came
the-
here, the SUV Expedition. or whatever.
Yeah, but there's 2 of them. One's light
And,
and one's the maroon.
and her car was at City Market.
Yes, because I brought it down.
Yeah.
And I told the police officer here, and I asked them, when we came here Saturday morning, should we bring it here? And they said, no, just you can leave it at City Market. And that way if Mindy is trying to get to it, she'll see it or something. And it was left there. Okay, now these are just really crazy.
I'm
And-
looking into the car. It's up to the officer based on whether or not there's a reason to think somebody did something. If we're investigating a person who's been taken, we always look at a car.
Okay.
If it's a missing adult, then it depends on the circumstances.
Because what Kim was babbling in front of me and the officer, oh, everything's all thrown around.
Right.
And Mindy's knife was open in the back seat of that car.
If they're missing
pocket.
out of the car,
Yeah.
in the car. If they're missing out of some other vehicle, that's the one we look at.
But that car was there when Snow was there.
That
And you
car-
have that on tape.
I'm not
at
saying it
local
wasn't
judge.
there.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, that's not the car she was missing from. She was last seen in the truck. Their vehicle.
No, the things in that vehicle is Judith's car. I know Judith's car. It's maroon.
Whose car was she lost from?
She was missing from Kimberly's car, which if there was any evidence would have been in Kimberly's car. because she drove from Florissant to the hospital and then to Woodland Park in Kimberly's SUV, her mother's SUV.
Yeah, that's what I said, Judith.
The one we're looking at is the one she's missing from.
And that was there at Lofinja.
Okay.
That's where she met the police, and everything was thrown around in there. And that just, bothered me there. And then when we went up Saturday morning to retrieve Mindy's car, he asked Judith, do you mind if I look in the car? And that was the car at Lofinja, and they had it parked around the back of the house. And her daughter and Jay went in there, and Mindy's Telluride white jacket was in there. Aspen's jacket was in there, and her pocket knife, and it was open in the back seat, and a bunch of her stuff was thrown around inside the car. So I'm just letting you know that. So I don't know. But they told us that night was snow, but he never went out to look in the car. Maybe he just thought it was a crazy woman, I guess. And then when I first met you was Tuesday, and I thought that's what you said, that you had just got called in on it when you came to my house.
Saturday. I was here Saturday night.
Okay. All right. Then that was wrong. And after Mindy's body was found, when was CBI called? Thursday?
Wednesday, when she was found.
When she was found. Okay.
We didn't touch the scene.
And when we did the flyers in the area, nobody on Saturday. We went immediately after we left the police here, and we were told by your sergeant here that she had not gone to the hospital, because that's what he was told.
Right.
And we did the flyers at the ups. We went up and down Parkview, all back in there. Nobody knew anything about it. It was our flyers. And I just thought, if somebody's missing, and if she's crazy, on drugs, a high fever, you don't do a 911 reverse to alert the neighbors that they could go out? Because you weren't here Friday night, so you don't know.
Yeah, but no, we wouldn't.
You wouldn't do it, because what they told me,
To,
the actual people that live up there, they told me Woodland Park with a broken window, okay, will come up, knock on doors to get information, leave cards, but a missing woman, they don't knock on
I
doors.
believe Friday that they did do a neighborhood canvas.
No, they were in their cars. I was with them. They just shone their lights. Nobody was out knocking doors. They went to Andrea's. When I got back up here at a few minutes before midnight, nobody was searching anymore. It was just me and Kyle riding up and down all the streets. So I figured that was right before 10. The police went out there. I followed them. And then he told me, well, you're better off going home waiting. And, and I can't wait. I'm a mother. And I took Aspen back, grabbed Kyle, and came back up here till about 3 or 4. So I just had just a few things bother me. And
And when you do get a copy of the report, you'll probably get a lot of questions.
okay, answered. And then with Gomes, if he searched the football area, right? When I talked to Kenny, he didn't know if school was open Monday and Tuesday. But I don't understand, if a girl's missing, last seen coming down, they don't look around buildings or
you
football?
understand that this is a missing adult,
Yeah.
I mean, not a missing child.
Well, what do you think now that you saw the autopsy report? What's your professional
I
opinion?
haven't seen the autopsy report.
Have you requested it yet?
The coroner will bring it to us when he gets it.
No, you need to request it.
Well, we're telling you the way we do it with our coroner.
Oh, is that with Mr. Burns?
Yes.
He stated to me that you have to request it, because I have the copy.
Well, I can only tell you the way it's been done for the last.
Well, that's what he
8
stated to
years that
me.
he's been the
He
coroner.
brought it to me this morning, and I looked at
That's
it.
nice, but I'm telling you what we've been
Okay.
doing for all this time.
And I
He
said,
gives it to us.
did the police get their copy? He goes, no, they have to request it.
We get it from him.
And it came in last week, to let you know.
Okay.
And he was supposed to mail it to me, and he said he got sidetracked, so he drove it down to me this morning. So that kind of bothered
I
me.
don't know why you said that. I can only tell you what we've been doing for the whole time he's been the coroner.
Yeah, well, that's what he
gives them-
said.
He gives them to us.
Yeah.
Now, we can request one of our own, but we get them from him.
Yeah, I do have it. It's not, and that's why I was gonna ask you, what did you Because I thought after I asked him that, he would probably bring you one if he's bringing me one. What did you think after
I
you
haven't
saw it?
spoken to him. Have you spoken to the coroner yet?
No, have not, Earl has not called me and I haven't got hold of him yet.
Okay, well, I did get the copy of it. Because I want to move forward against
Sure.
them up there civilly. And I know they don't have a pot to piss in,
No,
but
I
that will be
understand
my
what you mean.
biggest nightmare of them, no matter what, they will be looked into. If I paying privately, whatever for it.
Sure.
Because, and did you ever get to talk to Jessie? Because you said you hadn't had time,
No,
No.
well, I talked to her a little bit, yeah, but
but you
I
hadn't.
didn't show her the messages that were on Facebook.
Okay, because that still bothers me. He goes, your mom's in a house and she's near a phone. I don't know why she's not calling. Why would she say something like that Tuesday night before she's found? Obviously, she must know something. And I believe that her boyfriend's parents live in Forest Edge. I believe that if you talk to her. And that's why they were there. Because there's no sense of them leaving Woodland Park Hospital and going out on Rampart Range Road to Forest Edge for what? Unless they know somebody. The thing that bothers me about Shannon, that night he told police officer Snow and me, both of us, about an empty house with a white garage. Now, if he is chasing a woman, okay, I don't think you have time. We were up there. We didn't know which house. He said it was Brownwood sided with a white garage. When I went up there with Kyle that night and I called them to give me directions, go over 2 speed bumps, make a right. I went up there. I thought to myself, how could he know at nighttime this is an empty house? Some people could be in bed by 10 o'clock. So he must know that area very well. And that kind of confused me. If he's chasing her between those 2 houses, how would he have
Weren't
time
they going up
to
there
register?
to somebody's house?
They did. They went and picked Jessica up from a friend's house.
And that has to be the parents. And bet me it's right next door to that house. And I'll tell you why I know. It's right next door to that house.
It was my impression they were going there to see somebody, and that's what it was.
Yeah,
Jessica's
She went to
boyfriend's
business.
parents must
Okay.
live up there. And I can almost tell you, because when we were passing out flyers, this man was very strange, very nervous, and he didn't take a flyer. And it's right next to that brown house.
there were 2 houses that are vacant, but the one next to the friend's house that's vacant, we have history at that house, which is why we know those people are no longer there.
The brown house. It's the brown side house with the white carport. The guy lives right here. And how I know this, he was working on an engine, and Kyle had said when they were all at the pool a couple months before Mindy's disappearance, when the pool was open, that Jesse's boyfriend, when they were staying there waiting for the closing, her boyfriend's father works on cars, and that he could put an engine in. I thought, how odd, because the man that acted very strange to us that Saturday, passing out flyers, would not take one. Said, what's her name? How old is she? Backed away from us. He was working on an engine cars in the driveway.
Mhm.
And it just hit me, and I thought, well, that's how Shannon knows that house is vacant. Because he visits that house. Mindy doesn't know them. He knows Shannon's, Jesse's boyfriend's boyfriend, because he came to the pool down there. And that's what Kyle told me. They had come, when they were staying there to the pool, everybody was swimming. And he said, my dad works on cars. So while I've been thinking, since I got this copy of this report, and then the death certificate changed from the first one that I got, then he gives me a copy of this one.
What's it say?
And this one just says hypothermia on it, but the first one said something else, and all of her stuff. So things kind of like bothered me, and that's why I thought, just let me call. But eventually, because I know I can't get any of the reports till you close it out, and if Kyle does well and you're just looking for the 2 times that he screwed up on, there's really nothing else but really to close it, and I can go
That's the
forward.
lowest you can ever
Yes.
You on the autopsy report, though, I'm not trying to give you a hard time. I've been working here since 1979.
Yeah.
I've never requested an autopsy report from the coroner's office down in Springs. We always get it from the Teller County coroner.
Yeah,
Now,
but you don't request it from the Springs.
No, and
Oh.
I've been doing this longer than Earl has.
Yeah, and he's a little, to tell you the truth, he's a little confused sometimes, okay?
Okay.
And
Won't argue that.
he came to deliver this autopsy report, and I went outside and I see some man walking around the neighborhood. I saw him go to one house and 3 more. And I thought, is that him? Because he was like a half hour away. I called out his name, and it was him. 3 houses down.
He does,
What?
He's been to, Earl's been to your house.
Yes, he has been, because that's where my husband had to identify her. He signed that picture, or identified her by that. So he might be, but when because when I would call, it wasn't in, but then I got a call that it had been in last week. So I called Earl up, and he told me he got sidetracked. He's sorry. He would put it in the mail today. And I said, no, I want it.
would have been nice if he'd notified us too.
And I
That's what I'm
also,
saying, it would have been nice if he'd have called us to tell us he had it.
and I also asked him, about that. And I said, I would drive up to Cripple Creek. And he said, well, I don't have an office. And I said, but that's what's on your card. I mean, you're a public official here. That's the address, because you can't come here. So I have to mail it. But my husband called him back and said, that's fine. She doesn't have to come because you work out of your home. We'll meet you up in Cripple Creek, on the corner or whatever and Everfort. And he said he would meet me here this morning at 8:30. He did call me and said, you know what? I need to go to the Springs. I'll be at your house between 9:30 and 10. By almost 10:30, I'm going, where is he? And then I kind of looked outside and I saw down the bottom of the hill and 3 more houses up, and I'm going, is that him? Because I couldn't really notice. And he gave it to me. So, but last night I said, well, did you send one to the police department? I asked him. And he said, no, they have to request it. And I said, okay, because they're waiting for that too.
Yeah, well, we had requested it from him already. So.
Requested from him, but we don't request it from the coroner's office down in the Springs.
No, just from him.
But
And
you
that's
just asked
where
for
I
it
got
from
it
him.
from.
But-
We've asked it for.
He tells us, I have the report, and we say, can we have it?
And it's not real big, to let you know.
No, it's usually not.
Usually not.
Okay. And just to let you know, but you were there, right? So you took pictures, right?
When
You
she
were
was found,
No, when at the autopsy.
yes, we were both
Oh,
there.
you were both there? And Earl was there, right?
Yes.
And he said that I can get those pictures because she has cuts on the backs of her hands here. So,
Yeah, you can get.
but not on the inside, the backs. That's what's on the autopsy report.
Well, in the court, the medical examiner goes over and documents all the marks on the body.
Yeah,
At
and
the
her
autopsy,
feet just had that one, which is a callus. It's stated in there. And there's not, the marks aren't on her feet, but I think you said you saw a blade of grass or something by
No,
your
she
child.
had on her pants. She
On
had,
her pants.
she had like those little prickly things.
Yeah,
Weeds.
from tall grass.
Yeah,
From
And
weeds.
you know what's really weird? A
Yeah,
psychic
some
had
are-
told me
Between her toes or something?
No.
Some dirt or grass?
I don't remember, Chief.
she had nothing on the bottom of her
I
feet.
don't remember. I'd have to look at the photos
But-
again.
I took pictures of the feet.
What I recall
Good.
you guys told me at the time, it was just there was some dirt like in between
No.
the toes.
I thought,
don't know.
in my
You
opinion,
weren't
said
here
there
when
was
we had that conversation.
a blade of grass, but I still find that odd after that terrain, and I questioned the coroner, and he said, I know, I walked through that terrain, and I said, I have videoed it from every angle from that neighborhood coming to that football field, and there's gullies, and I'll let you watch it.
Well,
I
just
video
a thought that
everything.
I've had, if you want to hear it,
Okay,
is if she took off running and she went behind the vacant house, which is across the street and into the alley or whatever, and she went in the back and Shannon chases her, she comes back around the front, the car wasn't parked right there. She could have taken the street, went down to the main street, which
I
would be
did the street
Rampart.
too. I did
And she
every
could have
which way.
saw cops showing up. She could have saw Shannon and them showing up, and then ran behind the school and hid where she hid, which might be why her feet aren't as messed up as she would be if she ran through the forest.
But even the roads up there are not in good condition. It's
Yeah.
all filmed. We have it all on film. Every direction, we have it on film before it snowed. Okay, because it snowed Sunday night. And Lori from KDRO called me on her way down Sunday night. Said, my heart breaks for you. I just left up there and it's snowing. And then Jay came back, Brandon, everybody's searching for her because they never saw anybody Sunday out there. It was just our family. That's why we did go to the media on Tuesday to get our own search group together. And that's why we felt we had to, because it was going to take more. And I knew then we were looking for a body. We were not looking for my daughter. It wasn't going to be skipping down the street. And she never left this area, because I know a lot of people felt she took a ride and got out of here. But I knew in my heart,
False leads.
she never has ever gone more than, I would even say 10, 12 hours if you look, calling me, or I call her if you look at the phone records. We were very close. She would never not contact her children. And the weird thing is, I got that phone call and she said, Mom, and I have it all.
Yeah, that's
Document.
the hospital.
No, she was at the hospital.
Right before she went to the hospital.
And Kim grabs the phone and talks. Then her daughter got one a couple minutes later. And she was going, Amber. And guess who grabs the phone then? Kim. Not Kim, Shannon. And Amber, you guys never talked to Amber about that. And Kim grabbed me. Shannon grabbed the one that she made to Amber. So I just still, there's some pieces that don't fit for me as far as they're concerned. They just don't fit. And they probably never will. If I have money and time to really be able to put the time in to figure them out and track them down, it might all come out. It might. Because I know, you only have so much time. You got other things. It's not like some huge case or something.
It's not unusual for things not to fit either.
Yeah.
Even when you find the person afterwards and they're alive and they explain to you what happened, it's still not unusual for things to not quite fit.
But Shannon did say he chased her behind that house. And if you look at that terrain, I don't care, from the street where he said that she ran through that yard, by that garage, down there, it is so covered with twigs and rocks and everything. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And I still think there's something kooky with the whole scenario with, because I know they're not good people. I know they're criminal records. I know they're not wonderful people. And Mindy does not have a criminal record. She doesn't have drug arrest records and things like that. And she had the weight gain, and they were going to look into the thyroid. And I did find the papers, because Earl said they didn't find the cyst in her brain.
Right.
I have the paper from the MRI that says she does.
Yeah.
I got the medical record.
And I was there, and he did ask the medical examiner to look for it.
Yeah.
The examiner did not find it.
Yeah, but I have it, and that wasn't her cause of death or anything, but I do have that, so I know things because I have her paperwork. But those are just really some of the things that were like bothering me.
Yeah.
And as long as we get Kyle out of the way, I know now Kyle had nothing to do with it. I'm not saying Kyle's an angel, okay? Because he has a, abusive background with women, and it might not be physical, it's more yelling and that crap. But now that's the only thing that kept me hanging was, did she make a call for Kyle to come get her? And then he was mad she was up there and did something to her, and then he dumped her. Okay, that was in my head. But now that I know Mindy never made calls from the record, and the only way she could contact him was either the Manitoulin motel number, he had a room there, or Dylan's. That's the only two because he doesn't have a cell phone, he doesn't have a car. And so with this domestic dispute record with her and previous people, I didn't, exclude him out of the circle. But now that she didn't make a call, and then I knew he was with me from the time I picked up to help search, and then he was with us until actually they found, her body. And then when he was with us maybe another night, Jay can tell you that, but then when we were waiting for it to thaw out for the autopsy and stuff, he did go back to Dylan's, and he wanted to be alone.
I have some questions about before you come in, about using the GPS in your daughter's phone to locate her and how that all works.
Well, the way it would work,
No, I know how it does work, but what happened in this particular
if I was on vacation, I got called in on, so I
Yeah.
wasn't here.
I'm aware of that.
I can look it up real quick and see.
Look it up
Yeah,
real
because I
quick.
think I told you where to call. The cricket gave you her
I believe the
number.
officer on Friday night was taking care of that, so
Yeah,
Saturday I hadn't.
I know you weren't involved in it. I just want to find out.
No, I don't, and I don't recall
So
what,
that
Because
before she leaves.
Monday,
I don't recall. I'm
because
sorry.
Monday they said that when I called here,
Mhm.
then I called Cricket, and Cricket said, well, the police, if it's a, life or death, it doesn't have to be a crime. It can
Right.
just be somebody lost.
Right.
There's a number they can call immediately,
Mhm.
and they can tell what cell tower or whatever
Right.
that it's close to.
Sometimes.
But I knew she did not get a signal in Divide.
The reason I say sometimes.
Cricket
is we've
doesn't
got
get one.
Other missing persons who have phones.
Yeah.
And they frequently can't tell us where the person is.
Yeah,
We had one missing person. They were telling us the signal was bouncing off the Pueblo cell tower, and she was in Cripple Creek.
yeah, because of their cell tower, maybe. I don't know.
don't
But I
know
know,
either.
I know that it would say the Cricket customers out of the area. And that's what it would do when it's there. And I bet you anything, that phone, if I take it to Cricket with a serial number, if somebody reflashed it, it was up there, because if it in Woodland Park, it rings in Woodland Park.
Right.
And it would not ring that night with the police officers.
Right. But even if it's off, the service provider can access that phone.
Yeah,
And if it's one of the newer ones where it has GPS. they
yeah,
give us-
she had an
they-
Android.
Right, that's
Yeah.
what you said. They
It
give
has
us
to be turned on also.
the GPS coordinates, and so with those coordinates, we can go right to
Where the phone is.
If it's turned on.
if it's turned on.
Yeah, if it's
GPS
turned on.
feature has to be manually
Turned on.
Right.
And she didn't have it all that long because I gave her the receipt.
Now, she may have turned it on. I'm not saying
Okay.
she didn't, but
And I also made a copy of the bottom of the serial number, and I made a picture of the box so you guys had that to know what to ask for. And then the last things, I think all you said you're waiting on is Shannon and Kim's cell phone records.
when I got mine's an Android also.
Yeah,
And when I got it, I had to go through some steps and turn it on myself. It didn't come turned on. They ask you, well, you have to turn it on, use some of the features on it. Like people want to look up where's the nearest place I can go for lunch or whatever. And they ask you if you want the GPS turned on or not. The phone does in the software, and you decide to turn it on or not to turn it on. You can also turn it off. Now, whether it was turned on or off, I don't know. But that's something that would be
Yeah.
interesting to look at.
So, but, yeah, there is a number, and if it's a life or death situation.
yeah, because on my
you
Verizon phone, you
them,
can
they'll
call
give it to you.
and they'll give it to you. Yeah, they will. Okay, I mean, I'm a mom.
That's-
I don't want, I'm not going away. And of course, I'm a mother and I have questions, and I
Sure.
know what Mindy is. I'm not saying she was a perfect angel, but she was no meth head drug addict. There is just no way. But
I'm not saying she's a drug addict. We're saying she was under the influence of drugs that night.
I'm sure she was. And
Different
I'm
than
sure
being-
I know where she got them from.
That's different than being a drug addict.
Yeah,
But from the point of view of decision making, it's whether you're under the influence at the time is the big issue.
oh, well, naturally.
But-
And where she got them, and I know where she got them.
If we could prove she got it from there, then.
Yeah,
it would
I
be-
mean, it's all known all
Should have
over
spoke
the
to the
street.
district attorney and said if we could prove she got them there, he still isn't gonna
Because we have to prove that they gave them to them.
But if they took a lie detector test and the questions that were asked, did you provide or are you a drug user? I know that Shannon shoots up. That's how he does drugs.
Yeah.
But when you take a lie detector test, and I know they chose not to give Kim one because they believe she's telling the truth, which she's the last person I spoke to right after when she grabbed the phone and then here. Never saw him again. And I feel it's really, really odd. After they found my daughter's body and Jay went up there, which I think is really strange. If I had nothing to do with your daughter's disappearance or anything, I would say, look, I know you're under a lot of strain, but I need a restraining order against Mindy's dad. But he never did that. He never did anything. He never came out of the basement to help us look that morning. And that whole scenario is very odd. And I'm sure they were getting rid of drugs. That's why they hightailed it back up to Sherwood Forest up there to get rid of drugs. Because he sells drugs. And everybody knows it. And I still have people telling me, I think he's now working somewhere else. He left where he's working somewhere else. But he still supplies the meth to people. And maybe with the phone records, I don't know, but if they take a lie detector test, if it wasn't him, did Kim give her drugs? It's the same thing. It's still illegal. I don't care if it's a prescription drug, which she had prescriptions for.
Right.
Okay. If you sell your prescription drugs and somebody ODs from it, you are liable for those people. I mean, you can't go around giving people drugs, especially illegal drugs. And meth is an illegal drug.
I know. What I'm trying to say though is that with the evidence that we're talking about, if you had everything you wanted, they still wouldn't prosecute them for the drug case.
He's talking about district attorneys.
Yeah.
Would not prosecute them.
And that's here in Teller County.
That's El Paso, 4th Judicial District.
They were-
Paso and Teller.
Throughout the state. too.
Okay. So,
According to the sergeant on duty that night,
Snow?
no,
Oh,
it would be Sergeant Jordan, that Cricket had told him that they do not have the capability of doing GPS on Cricket phones. That's what he was told by
Oh.
the Cricket associate.
Oh.
When
Okay.
when we called the number.
okay. Because Snow's the one I met with, and he's not here no more.
No, but this is Snow's boss.
Oh, okay.
Sergeant Jordan that she's talking
Oh,
about.
okay.
He's the guy that's overall uniformed officer.
Okay. All right.
He was on that night. but
Because he's the one that gave me the card, and I followed him to Andrea's dad's house. And
He's
All
about 55 years old, dark hair. Sometimes he wears glasses.
I can't remember that night. It's a blur. He gave me his
Sure.
card. Tom Snow, I think.
Yeah, that was the
No, I'm
officer.
talking about-
We're talking about Sergeant Jordan.
Sergeant Jordan.
Oh, Jordan. Oh, okay. No, it was Snow.
Snow was in his 20s.
Oh, yeah. This guy looked young. I thought, God, don't tell me.
No, the supervisor though. that
Yeah,
was on
does
it
that.
was
And
in his
then-
50s.
And then the tape, they did tell me from Loaf and Jug, they do have the tape. Because she recognized me when I was in there, the girl, and said I gave the police department the tape from that night. And she actually lives right over the baseball field, the manager from Loaf and Jug. All right, well, that's all I had, especially after I got this,
The,
because she does have bruising.
the prosecution decisions though aren't just made on evidence.
No,
They're
I
based
know.
on people's experience with whether or not you're going to win the trial.
When, yeah, because I still
If you
think,
think you're going to lose, they're not going
Yeah.
to take it to trial.
and then they won't take, yeah, because there's some parts of her body I wouldn't think would have anything to do with her running that she has. You know, her chest, her back. So there's something weird, and her car keys was in her car. And Shannon told me that up there. And her real purse was in her car, and her real wallet was in her car. That's even crazier than the stuff they brought out to show me. And the keys are in the car. And how I know that, when I was driving at 132, it's on my phone log here.
Yeah.
He said, the key, I said, will you do me a favor? If she's that delirious, because that's what they told me, with fever and sick, take the keys out. Because if she gets a ride up there, I don't want her driving off. I told Shannon that. That was at 1:32. We were up here. And he said, yeah, I'll take them out of the car. And everybody said, Mindy would never leave her keys in the car. She wouldn't leave without her real
I don't
purse.
think she was delirious either. I think she might have been intoxicated, but not delirious.
With fever. That's what they told me, Shannon. And
Shannon, Kim told you she was
Well, they probably don't want to tell you that she was high.
yeah, because they're probably all high.
Could very well be, but I'm
Yeah.
assuming they don't want to tell you that though.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm
If she
sure.
was delirious when she met the hospital people, they wouldn't have allowed her to say no. They would have just taken her in. But if you're intoxicated, they don't always hold you unless you're so bad.
Yeah. But that's what she said. She's very high with fever, has laryngitis. She also told the mother-in-law that,
She
you
might
know,
have had a cold or something, but she wasn't delirious. Doesn't make any sense.
and she was really high with a fever. That's what they told me. And they told that officer, if that thing has sound at Loafing Jug, they told them the same crap story. And what I think,
believe it if they said it.
Yeah, I'm
I
just
think
saying
it's true.
they themselves don't want to be caught with the drugs in their system supplying it or any of it. I mean, they don't.
Probably not.
And I think that's why they hightailed it back up there instead of helping the police officers down here that night and me. They hightailed it back up there. And the oddest thing, Judith, when we went up there Saturday, if somebody was staying in my home and was missing, Judith opens the door. Kim's mother, I never met her till that day. And she has met Kyle before.
Okay.
And she said, who are you guys? And when we said who you are. Now, any normal people that live in the house, wouldn't you go home and say, Mom, Kim's, Mindy's car is out here. We tried to take her to the hospital. She jumped out. She knew nothing
Really?
about it. Now, isn't that strange? She told Jay, her granddaughter, which she knows Amber, Judith, that she knew nothing about it. Now, if I was in a house, lived in one house, and then when were they going to tell Judith that Mindy's missing and her car is there blocking the driveway? It's crazy. And they don't come out of the basement. They pass the keys to Judith instead of saying, hey, wait a second, let me take you to where the first spot she jumped out and we will take you to where I lost her. No, I never heard from them again since they left, and those phone calls with my phone logs and theirs. I never heard from them again from the last calls that I made saying, did you hear anything? Did you hear anything when we were still searching here? But Kyle and I did, so if you ask them, we did take a drive up there, got directions from my granddaughter. I called the motel.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle went out. Her car was covered with the snow from up there, so it hadn't been moved. And Kyle saw them up, and that was around 3:34 with me. I drove by. They're up downstairs doing their thing. All the lights are on, and Judith doesn't know a thing. So they're either cleaning up.
I think what you're describing though is consistent with somebody who uses drugs, whether they did something bad to your daughter or whether they just use drugs.
Mm-hmm.
I can see where they might not want to tell her, or she may not want to act like she knows anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's fairly consistent with people who get high.
Yeah,
That they
it
don't want
is.
to tell people stuff.
So hopefully one day I can get her on a lie detector my own way and see if she'll
People
do
who
one
get
for
high will
us.
frequently get rid of their drugs after they talk to the cops.
Mm-hmm. And that's why they hightailed it back up there. I'm not an idiot.
Well, I'm not trying to
Yeah.
say you're an idiot. What I'm getting at is it's just fairly common for people to do all these things.
Well, I
And
just
they're
hope they
drugged.
get caught dealing here in the Springs. I just hope they get caught. And they do have
Once
drug
they're all
things.
done, then your information will go to our vice and narcotics people in the Springs and
Mm-hmm.
see if we can get them caught.
Yeah, because I actually know someone that has dealt with them before that will actually contact and try to do a buy. And one of my nephews works the people he does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they know, they all know they had something to do.
As soon as this is
So,
to the point where we don't need to speak to them anymore,
Yeah.
we can start looking at this.
and then I'm going to try to get Kim if she offered to, with my own thing, the own detectives that I have hired to get her to do a lie detector. because I know she is going to crumble. She will crumble. She's
Again,
not
we
a
can't
good liar.
force him.
No, you
We
can't.
can't force him to make her take one.
Then we can't use
But she
it.
offered to take one. That's
She
what-
offered to take one,
But-
and she would have taken one, however, the photographer said in his
It's up to
opinion,
him.
it's up to him, I can't force him to make it.
The other thing is we can't use what happens in the polygraph.
No, you can't.
Anyways, it's an investigative lead, but we can't.
but you can't do it. But she acts like a drug addict. If you ever seen her,
Yes.
and she's, yeah, because I spotted her right away when I met her. But
Makes sense.
yeah, it does, doesn't it? All right, but anyways, when you get it, you'll see. And then if I can get the pictures, because like Vern, he wasn't going to show me the
How long
pictures.
does it take to get everything approved, so she can have it?
Everything up to now is approved, except for I think one report and
So the only
I
thing
just
we're
need to
waiting
add in
for is
polygraph,
the
which will
polygraph.
be
We're waiting
next
for the
week.
polygraph on Kyle, we're still waiting for the phone records to come back from, that we asked for.
Which we need to follow up on because it's been,
Well, I saw one, I did see one coming in today. And so they should be coming in.
So we're waiting for some of the phone records. We're waiting
Mindy's
for,
came
of course,
in.
the report on the act that hasn't happened yet, the polygraph.
And then we're waiting for the report from CBI on the cash register receipt that we sent out there. We already have a preliminary, we know what but there is the official report. Then we're waiting for
Now,
coroner report.
yeah, but it's here. You know what I was going to ask you? When you guys did the search on the back, whoever did, you were up there, right? When I gave you the key to go to Mindy's?
her house.
Yeah, her apartment.
Mhm.
It just said you took, I think, the district attorney's letter, maybe about Kyle, and something from Mary. Who's Mary?
There was a handwritten note that we found in the house about an allegation that Kyle may have inappropriately touched Autumn, or I'm sorry,
Aspen.
Aspen.
Oh, I am so glad you found that, because you know that girl is a little crazy, and they investigated it up
Yes,
there.
we turned it into
We
management
have to turn it
assistant.
in.
Yeah. But anyways, she has done this before in the past, okay? And she is under a doctor's care,
That's awful.
and she's in her, I think, late 40s. And I know her caregiver, and she had told them, and they were like, oh my God. And so when the investigator went up there for Aspen, they said she's perfectly fine, perfectly normal. They went up there, and Kathleen, that is her name is Kathleen, that her own sister is in another state, and they have had problems with Kathleen making stories because she says she was sexually assaulted. So she will talk to little kids, 3, 4, and will say, has anybody ever, and she even said it about Bo too. Does your daddy ever do this? And we talked to Aspen when she let Mindy and I know, because Mindy said, Mom, look at this crazy letter. And was that the full letter she wrote and going,
Mhm.
okay,
About
so
yeah.
yeah, so then we got Aspen and we asked her questions because she would, and she was like crazy. And so we told Kathleen, then Kathleen said she had to report it to her therapist. And it just got really crazy. But I'm glad you have that letter, because when I went, because I knew they were going up there, I said, this is really crazy. And Cass said, let them call me first, because I'm the one in charge of her. I will tell her who her therapists are. She has done this before. In fact, she called the mother out of state. I think they're from Atlanta or somewhere. And the sister that's a therapist, and said, I'm going to stop taking care of her because I've had to commit her twice already here. You're going to have to take her back there because I'm not going to put up with any more of this nonsense. But then she said she was sorry. I seen her after that.
Oh.
Kathleen said she was sorry, and she's a little wacko, but she actually lives in that building.
Oh, does she?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Mindy would take her to doctor's appointments, take her to the grocery store. And so she was around Aspen, but she has a fixation about any child being molested because she told Mindy she was molested. But she really has the IQ of like maybe a 15-year-old. She's not like an
I
adult.
never tried.
Yeah, but I'm glad you did. So that was good because I thought we had that and I didn't ever want it to lose that. But yeah, it was not only about Kyle. She also asked about Bo, her father.
Yeah.
And of course, Bo's her father when he has her on the weekends has to run a bath for her. My God, she can't burn herself, you know. And then when she gets out of the tub and watch her so she doesn't drown in a tub. But I said, my God, that's her father, you know. But they did go up there, and I was so glad about that.
That's good. I'm glad you
Yeah,
did.
they did go up, and Joanne was there, and they said she's a very normal, healthy little girl, and she has not been sexually assaulted. So I said, oh my God. So that's good. So, because I thought, what was that other thing there? Because I knew about the district attorney thing.
One thing to think about whenever you look at these things, though, is that you're an honest person. You don't use drugs, and you care about other people.
Yeah.
But when you're dealing with people who do use drugs
Uh-huh.
or don't care about people, a lot of this stuff won't make sense because you would never do anything like that.
No, I wouldn't.
So when it doesn't make sense, sometimes it's because it's them doing it, not you.
Yeah, I mean,
With
it's
you
just,
doing it, none of this would have been this way.
no, and I could kick myself when,
So,
you know, Mindy did call me and go, Mom, that I didn't get in the car and tell Kim, look, I'll take her
right.
to the doctor. She's that ill. I could kick myself. But I thought never in a million years would I think,
Well, you can't see backwards. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you do, there's always a better way.
never in a million years
No
would I
window
think
for
this
you to
would have
know that
happened.
Something like this was going to happen.
No, I
And
can't.
Your daughter's a grown up.
Yeah, she's 33 years old.
If she wants to go with somebody, it's up to her.
Yeah, no, she went up there Thursday night
So
to visit them. You know, she went up there.
it's not something you could have fixed.
No, but we will, you know, see. But
You may do all right on a civil suit because of different standards of evidence.
of course there
And
is. Yeah,
You can be compelled to testify against yourself in civil court. Whereas
yeah, you can't.
you can be put on the stand and you either have to talk or you in contempt.
Yeah,
So that gives you quite a few advantages. The
Yeah.
other thing is when you want evidence, our standard is probable cause. In civil suit, just that the evidence might be germane to the case.
yeah,
It's a really low standard.
yeah, and that's why. I mean, they don't have a pot to piss in, and that's not what I'm looking for.
No, you want something done right.
I want something done, and whenever they do, if I would win, I don't care what job they get, I will find out. And no, I'm serious, because they are not going to get away with it, because I know what they're all about, and I hope Manitou does something with them on that tape selling Mindy stuff. I really do. They're going to try. And I really hope, because that is selling stolen goods.
Mhm.
And Mindy did report it. And then they called the clerk as Kim walked in. Mindy was on the other end, told them what was missing. And they took it in. So, and they have it, both Kim and Shannon selling her things on tape. And I hope their butts get arrested, because you can only get arrested so many times for thefts and drugs, and they stop slapping your hand.
Or
But I understand Shannon's done, I think, about 2 years in prison before for drugs.
seems to us like
That's
they never
sales.
stop slapping your hand.
Yeah. She's done good and fine. Kim's done fine. And I just don't want to happen to what happened to Mindy to somebody else with these idiots. Because what they are really leeches that don't want to earn an honest living. Kim's a thief.
Sounds like.
They want to sell me, which I wouldn't buy. That Monday before she's missing, because I was buying Amber, her little girl, an iPod. And that's the first time, but it was dark out there. And I said, where's the paperwork? Where's this? I wouldn't buy anything that's out of a box, paperwork, because if it's your thing, you would have something, the charger, you would have the accessories that come with it.
Yeah.
And I don't buy stolen things, and I'm not gonna, and they're just thieves. And in the moving business, they work together. She packed and he moved. And I'll ask other movers that they work for what kind of stuff came up missing. They're not honest, good people. They're not. Okay, well, let me know when I can get those, because I want to get going with this. I am definitely gonna want.
Yeah, the day I do the polygraph, it'll be in the afternoon, I'll call the email that it's done.
Okay, and then I can get those copies.
As soon as the
Yeah.
case is complete.
Yeah.
As soon as it's locked and approved
Yeah.
completely, yes.
Yeah, just let me know, and then I can get going, because I don't want to be paying people just sitting
Yeah.
till I can really get the ice. That guy, there's someone next to that house, that Jesse's boyfriend's parents, it all makes sense to me. Because I don't care what anybody says, I know everything, that those do everything faster over there, and she was not there. Your police officers were down there and people saw them. And Jay, I know you said you can't see, but Brandon and my brother-in-law, Gene and Deb, they were Angus children, I'm telling you. And so I think before it snows, and they'll be able to tell by the way of how she was found. Because she was laying down straight. That's what I understood. One leg up, laying flat. She wasn't.
It looks like what she did is she sat
Mm-hmm.
and she had her leg on around the barrel, and then it's like she fell asleep because she went choop. And
So she was sitting up.
She was sitting up, and it looks like she like if she would have fallen asleep and just fell to the side. That's how it looked like she did.
But she was frozen solid,
Mhm.
and they had to thaw her out.
Because she's been there for.
Yeah, even if it was since Sunday
Mhm.
or Friday, I don't care. She would be frozen solid.
Yeah, but she was buried in snow, so.
But the people, the picture, the coroner showed us she's laying.
Well, he took pictures from. He showed me a picture of her probably after we moved her.
But
From
if
her
she's
position.
solid.
I have pictures of before we removed the snow, as we removed the snow, and
Okay.
after we removed the snow. So
Okay, so she was sitting up and then she laid down.
it was like she fell asleep and then
Okay,
fell to the side. That's how.
okay. Because it has a lot to do with how the blood cells when she died. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. I'm not, I will say,
Yeah.
so I know how the blood settles, you know?
Yeah.
And I know how rigor mortis sets in and how it leaves. But she was frozen. That's what coroner told me. She was frozen solid. And it took 4 days to thaw her out. So then when he took the picture, how did that? My husband's not crazy. I don't think Brandon, when he brought it to the house, he said she was laying down flat with her hands like this and one leg like this.
Her hands were, when we picked her up,
Yeah,
she stayed in that same position that we found her in. She's full.
Yeah.
Solid. Put her down so we could put her, we put her on the bag.
okay.
So we cover up, so trying to block her from the media. And then her hands were kind of like this.
And her
It's
hair
like-
extensions were over her hands?
No.
No? And we never got them back. I don't even know what happened to them. I had to buy new ones for the visitation.
Oh, it probably, I don't even know. I believe they might have cut them out on some of them on the autopsy just to check around. Possibly.
Yeah, because they're clips, so
Yeah.
you just unclip them. She didn't have the glue. Because then she wear her hair short, because she had really long hair and cut it. And she wear it short, and then when she wanted it long, you just pop in the
Yeah.
things, the clips. Okay, all right, thanks a lot.
Yep.
Give me it. Yeah, let me know.
I'll talk to you next week.
Okay, all right. Okay, bye-bye.
I got to take a deep breath after that. I want you to understand why I'm doing this, because these recordings were taken 10 years ago. I'm not here to come after the cops. I'm not here to shake things. I don't want to continue to. I don't want to battle with the cops. People have asked me, where are these police officers now? Well, a couple of these police officers are still here. Chief Larson, the chief of police who we heard talking, he is no longer the chief of police in Woodland Park. Some of the detectives that were, some of the people, they weren't detectives at the time. Some of the cops are still here. We are going to get into everybody. We'll do an entire podcast about every one of these people mentioned. I've been going for 2.5 hours, and I have barely, and when I tell you, I have barely scratched the surface of what I received today on these discs. I have dozens of recordings between the cops, between the coroner, between the attorneys, with witnesses. Vicky is not going away. She hasn't gone away in 10 years. But this is the first time this information has been released to the public. Over the next 10 days, 30 days, however long it takes me to continually get through this, I'm not going to try to do it all in one. I can't, there's just no way to do it. And so if you're just joining, I implore you, go back and watch this video, not because I don't need views. I don't need subscriptions. I don't need likes. I don't need any of that. I need you to share this video. Make as much. You think you can make noise on Facebook? You think you can make noise on social media, Twitter and YouTube? Then go do it. Because Mindy Lee deserves justice, because Vicky deserves justice, because Mindy's daughter deserves justice. You just listened to what Vicky had to go through. She's had to go through this for 10 years, running into brick wall after incompetence, after corruptness, whatever it is. Whatever you want to call it, whether it be incompetence, whether it be corruptness, whether these officers that investigated this had something to do with this, whether they were trying to keep their pretty little town, their cute little mountain town, whether they were trying to doctor the statistics and so that people didn't see the murders that were happening. I don't know the reasons why they just threw this off to the side. I don't know the reasons why logic didn't make sense to them. But I can tell you right now, these recordings do not come from last week. They come from, this one comes from in January of 2011, January 23rd, I think is what I said, 2011. This is just days. Mindy Lee went missing the day after Thanksgiving. She was found on December 1st, frozen. We have a lot of things we're going to go through, a lot of evidence we're going to go through. From was she put in a freezer? Where was she held? Why wasn't she found when the search and rescue dogs did laps and were that close? They literally walked by that shed a few times. And you're telling me because she hid behind some barrels, those dogs couldn't find her? We're going to look for answers. But more than anything, we're not going to be able to change what the cops have said. Listen, I've dealt with enough cops that to get a cop to admit that this case was botched, to get a cop to admit that they didn't investigate this case correctly, to get a cop to admit that there may have been some corruptness or there may have been some shady play in this case, that's not going to happen. But what can happen, what will happen is if you make enough noise, if you scream it loud enough, if you begin to share these podcasts and let people listen to how they investigated this case, we might be able to wake somebody up that can come forward with some new information. There may be somebody out there that for 10 years, they've been living in guilt and they want to be set free by letting us know what happened. Kim and Shannon are still around. Kim's mom are still around. The children who were children are now beginning to grow up. You think that this is crazy? We haven't even scratched the surface. I took it easy on you this evening. I took it easy on this. We've been going for 2 hours and 45 minutes. I'm closing this podcast down. If you want to see more information about the Mindy Lee case, you can follow me on all my channels that are listed. You can go over to Facebook and you can join my Facebook page. You can join my Facebook group, Dad with the Phone. We are going to dive into the Mindy Lee case like no one's ever done it before. These are never before released recordings. This is a mom's cry. This is a mom's journey over 10 years of trying to get answers. We live in a different age. I believe that the age that we live in will rule the true crime world, that people like you and I can actually bust open these cold cases, but it takes all of us. It's going to take a village to help Vicky out. She's been screaming for 10 years. Let's help her get loud. Let's get loud. Begin to share this. Begin to talk about this. Begin to question this. Now listen up. Listen up, creators. I know you're watching. I know you're watching. Listen. This is how serious I am about this. I give the rights to this video away. Take it, chop it, cut it up, make powerful statements, Twitter it, TikTok it, Facebook it, YouTube it. Take it, creators. Run with it. You have it. It's out there now. It's not protected. It's not hidden. You just heard that recording. You go and do what you do. You got my permission. Dad with the Phone gives the rights to this video away. Take it, chop it up, spread it, cut it into 30-second bites, and let the world hear it. Do what you do. If you want to build views and subscriptions, then join the fight with me. Begin to take this video and do your own analysis of it. Begin to break down those recordings. Begin to break down those videos that Vicky took. You think I'm in this for myself? You're crazy. Begin to get loud and make noise about this. Call every news station, every cop, every FBI, every lawyer, anyone that wants to help. I dare you. I dare you. We can bust this case open right now. In 2020, we can make a difference in Mindy Lee's case. Take it. Go with it. Run with it. You got my permission. If you want to help Dad with the Phone, go like all these little tags. If you want to support Dad with the Phone, I unashamedly give you a chance to give. I'm going to bring you more than anyone else can. I'm going to go after this more than anyone else. You don't have to support the channel. You don't have to like the channel. But if you want to, if you felt compelled to, I want to give you the opportunity to give. You can give directly to my PayPal. Leave me a note. Tell me why you're giving. Tell me why you're giving. I'm going to continue to do this whether anyone gives or nobody, or whether people give. But I have to give the opportunity out there for people to give because they want to. And so if you want to give to Dad with the Phone to help spread this news and to help spread the story of Mindy Lee, then you can donate directly to that PayPal. You can put that in your link and you can second mortgage your house if you want to give. I'm teasing. Don't do that. But I give permission to everyone out there, creator, a YouTuber, Facebook or Instagram, TikTok. Take this video, chop it up, and begin to spread the news of Mindy Lee. We have to scream it from the mountaintops. This mom has been chasing the answers for 10 years without any. Let's give it our best effort. Let's give it our best effort. The drama to the side. I will not report anyone who posts this video. I will not report anyone who streams this video. You're not going to get a YouTube strike. I'm not in this for subscriptions. I'm not in this for likes, or I'm not in this for people to give me money. I'm in this because I have a passion for what happens in Woodland Park, Colorado, the town I live here. I lived here when Mindy Lee was found. I have stood and sat across from Vicky as she's given me this story, as she turned over these sacred discs. These things have been kept in her sacred pile. I tried to talk her out of doing this because I'm scared of what we are going to find. Thanks for joining tonight. Thanks for watching. Do what you do. Let's see the power of the internet. Go for it.